Hey Joe Ravioli fans, my name is John Campanella. I am the CEO of iCreate, and today I want to present to you the board game called Joe Ravioli, the Cheesiest imPASTA, Underworld Empire. A little background on the Joe Ravioli world is Joe Ravioli was created in 2021 by my brother Steve, who created all of the artwork by hand. As it was going to be an NFT project, it was going to be different. We weren't going to do generative NFTs. We were actually going to do physical, hand-drawn. Each one was going to be hand-drawn. However, we were given the opportunity to take Joe to the real world almost immediately with Amazon. So Joe Ravioli currently is t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts. A company called Attaboy took Joe Ravioli and created magnets and buttons. We had video games for Joe Ravioli, but we're at the point now where people have asked us, can you guys develop a board game for Joe Ravioli? Now, I'll give you a little bit of background of Joe Ravioli, but first let me give you a little background of me and my family and why we created Joe Ravioli in the first place. Joe Ravioli is loosely based on our family heritage. Our family migrated from Naples, Italy to Brooklyn, New York. I was actually born in Brooklyn, New York. Both sides of my parents are full Italian. I'm full Italian. My whole family, like I said, all migrated from Naples over here. And being born in Brooklyn, I grew up knowing all the five boroughs of New York City. And they consist of Manhattan, which is the main island. You've got the Bronx, which is north. You have the Queens, which is northeast. You have Brooklyn, which is southeast. And you have Staten Island, which is south directly of Manhattan, the island Manhattan. So we wanted to make something that was funny. And the story of Joe Ravioli is that he works at a deli and he has a sweetheart named Carmella Cannoli. And he wants to buy her a diamond ring so he can get engaged so they can eventually get married and have little raviolis of their own. Well, Joe has a tip at the Tortellini Racetrack that day that tomato sauce is going to come in first place. And he feels, oh, this is my opportunity. He goes to the Mozzarella family, who's actually the mafia in this game, and he borrows some dough from the Mozzarella family to bet on the horses. Well, the story goes is that tomato sauce was winning until the very last minute when he lost. And he came in last place, actually. So Joe lost all of the dough. And now he owes the Mozzarella family all of this dough, and he has no way to pay it back. So the Mozzarella family hires the Meatball Gang, who are the enforcers of the Mozzarella family, and they hired them on a Calzone Contract to go and get Joe, bring him back, and if he doesn't have the money, they're going to boil him headfirst, al dente style, into a pot of water. Now, they're not killing Joe. We don't believe in that. They're just making him hard. He's not going to be fresh anymore. He's going to be somewhat cooked, per se. So, over the course of the years, Joe Ravioli had gone to a lot of costume parties. He was into Halloween, so he had all these costumes. So, the reason why he's called the cheesiest imPASTA is because he dresses up in all these crazy characters. So this way he can elude the Meatball Gang and somehow try to get the money back so he can pay the Mozzarella family before getting caught. So the way the game works is there are 18 zones in the game. And I'm going to go through all of the components of the game, including the box, and everything that I'm going to show you today is prototype form, but some of it is pretty close to being done, complete. So let's take a look at what we've got for Joe Ravioli. Okay, let's talk about the components of the game. So the game itself is a 27 by 18 game board. Everything that I'm going to show you today is kind of prototype, but some of it is actually completed as to where we would say that it is going to be part of the game. Little things may change a little bit, but the gameplay itself is done. The board is complete. The cards are complete. The box is complete. As you can see here, we have a Joe Ravioli box. It's a 12 by 12 by 3 box. Everything will come contained within the box. Joe Ravioli that's on the front is upside down for a reason, because if you remember from what I've discussed before, is that they want to take Joe and dump him into a pot of boiling water and cook him al dente style. Well, on the box, as normal, it would tell you the age, which is 14 and up, 2 to 6 players. And the game time, we put 60 minutes. It could be 45 minutes if 2 players are playing. It could be 60 minutes if 4 players are playing. It could be 90 minutes if 6 players are playing. On the back of the box, we show the map of New York, which are the 5 boroughs, which I discussed. And we show the cards and the gameplay on the back of the box as well. And let's get into the components of the game itself. The game comes with 36 character cards, and each one of these cards is one of the characters in the Joe Ravioli world, and each player will choose one of those cards. There are 24 redemption cards or disguise cards, and you'll start with one of these as well, but during gameplay you'll gain another redemption card depending upon where you land. And then there are 50 event cards, and these cards, again, during gameplay will tell you what happens during all of the events. To play, we actually have 2 dice. The yellow dice is for normal gameplay. The red dice is for an option that we call Meatball Heat, and I'll explain that in a second. Let's look at the yellow dice. So the yellow dice being 1 through 6. It doesn't work on what you would normally think. You roll it once, you move 1 point, you roll it twice, you move 2 places. It doesn't work that way. So rolling once, you don't move anywhere, but you stay where you are and you take effect of what is on that zone. If you roll a 2 or a 4, you move 2 spaces. If you roll a 3 or a 5, you move 1 space. But if you roll a 6, you move 2 spaces plus 1. So 1 and 6 are kind of different than what you would normally think. But again, you're either moving 1 space, 2 spaces, or 3 spaces, or staying put where you are. The Meatball Heat, as you can see at the top of the game board, there's what we call our crisis track. And it goes from 1 to 8. It'll start at crisis 1. Because Joe is in crisis based on him, losing all the dough. And if it gets to 8, the game ends. The person with 20 redemption points is the winner of the game. All right. If you gain 20 redemption points before you get to 8, you still win the game. If it gets to 8, then the person with the most redemption points wins. If there's a tie, then we'll go to dough, and whoever has the most redemption points in dough at that point will win the game. But the way that the crisis deck dice work is rolling a 1, it moves the crisis deck 1. Anything else, the crisis deck doesn't move at all. So there are what we call dough coins, which are worth 1 dough each. And then there are redemption coins, which is a star ravioli, and they're worth 1 redemption coin. There are 6 different ravioli meeples in here. So depending upon what you choose, each one of these is the player pawn, or what we call our ravioli meeples. There is a little meatball, and that actually will go on the crisis track, and that will start at 1. And each player is going to start with 3 coins, 3 dough coins, a character card, and a redemption disguise card. Now, I had mentioned that currently the meeples are raviolis. We're hoping that if we hit our stretch goals, we'll be able to create 3D characters. This is the final version of it, that will represent the gameplay rather than a ravioli meatball. But I'm going to set this up as if 3 players are playing right now, so we'll show you how this works. I'll do a round, and it'll give you an idea of how the gameplay moves from player to player. So each player is going to choose a character card. So I'll face them up, but normally you'll hide your character card, so this way no one knows what you are choosing. So first person chooses, the cheesy wager. So this is Joe Ravioli. Now there's different sayings on this card. There's a flavor which says, oh no, tomato sauce came in last. I should have never barred from the mozzarellas. That's just his saying or flavor. But each one has a power. So on Joe's card here for the cheesy wager, his power is he starts a table-wide wager. All players will ante up 1 dough, and the winner with the highest roll of the dice will gain 1 redemption or 2 redemption points on here. So that's one way to create redemption points. And this will happen on every round. So he gets to do this on every round if he chooses. He doesn't have to, but to keep the gameplay going, he will do that. Second player, IRS, agent, Internal Rigatoni Service. No Tacconi taxes, no mercy. Target loses 1 dough at the start of their turn. So he can then force any player, okay, to lose 1 dough at the start of their turn. Again, this helps keep the game flowing. The third player gets Angelo Della Val the Angry. Says he never puts on a happy face. Once per turn, he can force a duel against any adjacent pawn. So with Angelo, if you're on the same location as Angelo, he can challenge you to a duel. And it can be whatever they want. It could be 1 dough, 2 dough, 2 redemption points, whatever he chooses, he can challenge you to that. And that person must engage within it. Now, if they don't have enough, they have to bet what they have to bet. And whoever rolls the dice and gets the highest point will then be, win whatever that wager is. So now each person gets a redemption card. So our first person gets Taxi Driver Cap. Meter's always running. Swap zones with any player on the board. So at any time, they can use this card and say, I want to swap places with you. And then the effect that's on that zone will come into play. Second player chooses school teacher. All right, pop quiz, who's hiding Joe? And here, they gain 1 redemption point, and another random player loses 1 redemption point. So again, they can choose this on a gameplay, and when they choose, and they can gain a redemption point. Trench coat. Blend into the sauce crowd. Ignore the next event that targets you. So some of the event cards have negative effects. If you hold this card, you do not have to abide by whatever that negative effect is. All right. Now each person will choose a ravioli meatball. So first person, number 1, is going to choose yellow. Everyone starts at Little Italy. We'll do yellow. We'll do white. And let's do blue. Blue. Okay. Each person starts with 3 dough coins. So I'll put 3 dough coins on each player. And now, because the first person that chose, which is the cheesy wager, he can actually say he wants to challenge everyone. Everyone has to put up 1 dough. So it's going to immediately start where everyone's betting. And we got all of our dough here. And each player is going to roll the dice. So player number 1, he gets a 2. Player number 2, they get a 6. Player number 3 gets a 6. So now we have a tie. Okay? The tie, this person's out. This person's lost. Now these 2 people will have to roll the dice, and he gets a 2. He gets a 4. So this person wins all that dough. All right, so now this person has 5 dough. But Joe didn't do his turn yet, all right? He also has, he can swap any zone with any player, but they're all in the same zone, so he can't really do that. So let's roll for dough. So Joe rolled a 6. So now Joe gets to go 2 plus 1. Now you can look at the board and see what's going to best benefit you, all right? So he's looking here. So if he can go 3, he can go 1, 2. He can go to Astoria Pool Hall. He can duel another player if he wants, or he can go up to Grand Concourse. If behind in redemption points by the leader, he gains 1 redemption point. No one has any redemption points, so that won't do anything. Or he can disguise or draw 1 disguise card. So since no one has any redemption points, I'm going to put this person here, and he's going to draw a disguise card. Disguise card. It's second chance. Boiled up, not broken. If you were to be eliminated, instead reset your redemption points to 2. So if he was eliminated, he can actually take it and start back over with 2 redemption points. All right, let's go with white now. 5. So 5, you remember, you get to move 1 choice. So you can go to the Times Square, all right, draw 1 event card, or pay 1 coin to cancel if it's a negative effect, or he can go to Wall Street and roll the dice, or he can go to City Hall and pay dough to cancel any effect. But let's take him on to draw an event card. So this way you can see how the event cards come in. Event card. Gain 2 coins. If drawn at Red Hook warehouses, also draw 1 disguise. But he's not at the warehouse. But he actually gains 2 coins. So this person will get 2 coins. This is discarded now, and that card is out. So let's take blue. Blue gets a 5 as well, so he can move 1. So let's do something different with him. Let's go to Wall Street. We'll go to Wall Street on him. So he pay 1 dough to roll the dice. If he rolls the dice and gets 4 to 6, all right, he gains 2 redemption points. 1 to 3, he loses a redemption point. Well, he doesn't have any redemption points, so let's play, all right? Let's roll the dice. He gets a 5. So on the 5, he gets 2 redemption points. So now this character here, this person now has 2 redemption points. Now remember, this is the person that won the bet in the first place. Now, this person says, force a duel against any adjacent pawn. There's no adjacent pawn, so he can't do that. So he could have had that effect as well. All right. Now at the end of every round, all right, we can do one of 2 things. All right. If we decided that we wanted to do meatball heat, all right, we would take the dice and now we would roll that. All right. You choose who's rolls 4, no effect. If it was a 1, the crisis point would move up now. But since that's not, however, at the end of every round, an event card is pulled. So the event card is, so each person has to either pay 2 coin, all right, according to this is ransom demanded, family business costs dearly. So each player has to pay 2 coin or they lose 2 redemption points. So does everyone have 2 coin? Oh, this person has 2 coin. This person has 2 coin. And this person has 2 coin. So everyone lost 2 coins on that one. Let's play one more round. Well, now we have the cheesy wager again, and he can't bet. It says start a table-wide wager if he wanted to, but he has nothing to bet, so you can't bet on anything. All right. He could swap zones with any player, and if he does that, he'll get whatever is on that zone. So let's see. Who would I want to switch with? So I'm yellow, and I can switch with Times Square, where I draw 1 event card, but I can't pay anything. So let's do that. So let's switch. So he now switches with this person here. He can draw 1 event card. All right, and it says advance crisis track by 1, and every player loses a redemption point. So the only one that has a redemption point is this person here. That's that. All right, and now this person now, if it's behind in redemption points, he gains a redemption point. So this person has 1, so he'll gain a redemption point on that. So he did get something on there. All right, but now he has to roll. So this person is the one that's playing, and then this one rolls, and we have a 3. So he's going to move. So I'm going to go to Little Italy, and I end my turn there, and I gain 1 redemption point. So now this person has 2 redemption points. All right, White's turn. A 2. So he gets to move 2 spaces. He can't go this way because it's only 1. You can't go back and back. You can only go forward. So there's no going back and back. All right, so you can go 2 spaces. So let's go, let's see. All right, so I can go all the way over to Flushing Meadows, and I can draw 2 event cards, but I can keep 1 of them. So let's see what we get here. So 2 cards. All right, so any player at racetrack loses dough, but no one's at the racetrack, so we're going to discard that. So we can target 1 player, okay, and they'll have to discard 1 of their disguise cards. So I'm going to go after this person here, so he has to discard a disguise card, and that event is over. All right, so now we're in Blue's turn. Blue's turn is a 2. He can move 2 spaces, so let's go. I'm going to go to the racetrack. Let's bet, all right? So if I roll the dice, if I get 1 to 2, I lose a dough. If I get 3 or 4, I gain a dough. If I get 5, I get 2 dough. If I do a 6, I get 1 redemption point. I get a 4. So 4, I end up with 1 dough. So I gain a dough. Okay. Now that round is over. Again, since we're going to play Meatball Heat, we take our red die, we roll it, we get a 3. So it does not move, right? That's that. However, we get to choose an event card. An event card is all players lose 1 redemption point if they have no dough. So he has no dough, so they're going to lose 1 redemption point. He has dough. He has dough. So this was the only person that lost something. So as you can see, that's basically the gameplay. on how to play the game. I don't know how long we played. We played 2 rounds, and what was that, 10 minutes? So, depending upon how many players you have, and you see how long the game can go. Now, again, you don't have to do the meatball die, or meatball heat. You can do that if you want. There are expansion sets to this, but please follow us on Gamefound. If you have the desire to get this game before it's available to anyone else, go in there. It is going to be a different price. You're going to get a better price if you fund this game through our campaign now rather than wait till it comes out. But there are additional components out there that you will have, that if we hit certain goals and you're one of our backers, you'll get whatever stretch goal we reach, you will get that. But take a look. Again, I'm John Campanella. I hope you enjoyed this. Joe Ravioli, what can I say? Forget about it.
Hey mamma mia, what's wrong with me? Bet all my dough on a pony, now I gotta flee. Mozzarella boys,